Someone hurt you, and you've been arguing with them all day inside your own head. They weren't in the room for any of it. You're driving or doing dishes or lying there at 11 at night, saying the thing you should have said. Sharper this time. Better. Maybe it was a text that changed how you see somebody. Maybe it was a friend who repeated something you said in confidence. A family member who does the same thing every single year. A coworker who took credit and let you take blame. Or someone who just made you feel small and then acted confused when you flinched. So let me say this before anything else. Being hurt is not a sin, and don't let anybody spiritualize you out of the fact that it happened. Jesus was betrayed by a man he shared bread with, and he didn't pretend it was fine. But here's the part worth being honest about. Getting hurt is where a lot of us lose our footing, and we lose it slowly, and it feels justified the whole way down. So here are 7 things spiritually mature believers don't do when someone hurts them. This isn't a list about being nice. Some of the most mature people in Scripture were extremely direct. It's a list about not handing your soul to someone who already took enough. 1. They don't respond while the wound is still hot. Proverbs says a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. And James says, be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. That's not suppression, it's sequencing. You still say the thing, you just don't say it in the first 10 minutes, in writing, at midnight. Write the message. Don't send it. Read it in the morning and watch how much of it was for you and not for them. In Psalm 55, David is describing a betrayal by a close friend, someone he used to walk into the house of God with, and he takes all of it to God first. Not one word of that psalm went to the man who did it. Pour it out to God before you pour it out on a person. You will never once regret the sentence you didn't send. 2. They don't keep trying to make the other person understand. This is the trap that swallows good people. You explain, they twist it. So you explain better, with more detail, more evidence, calmer voice, and every round leaves you more exhausted and less believed. Peter writes that when Jesus was reviled, he did not revile in return, but entrusted himself to the one who judges justly. He had a full defense available. He didn't spend his last hours trying to fix his reputation. Say your side once, clearly, then stop, because some people are not misunderstanding you. They need you to be the villain, or their version of the story falls apart. You are allowed to be misunderstood by someone who was never going to understand you. 3. They don't recruit an audience. You know exactly what I mean. Telling 6 people just to get perspective. The vague post nobody has to explain. Building a quiet coalition so that when it comes up, everyone already knows whose side to be on. Jesus said if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault, between you and him alone. Between you and him. That's the first move, and almost nobody makes it anymore. And hear me clearly, this is not a gag order. Telling a pastor, a counselor, a mature friend, or the person who can actually protect you is wisdom, not gossip. If someone is being harmed, silence is not maturity. The test is simple. Am I telling this person because they can help, or because I want them on my side? 4. They don't keep the record. Paul says love keeps no record of wrongs, and Hebrews warns us to watch that no root of bitterness springs up. Because a root is patient. It grows quietly, underground, for months, and by the time you see it above the surface, it's in everything. Every time you rehearse the offense, you're watering it, and bitterness has this awful arrangement. It costs you sleep, your prayer life, your softness with people who never hurt you, and it never once inconveniences the person who did it. Here's the honest part, though. Forgiveness usually isn't a single event. You may release the same person on Monday and find your hands back around it on Thursday. That's not failure. That's what forgiving something real actually looks like. You just don't build a case file. 5. They don't appoint themselves judge. Paul is direct about it. Never avenge yourselves, but leave it to God, for it is written, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." And notice how few of us do it with our fists. We do it with the cold shoulder held 1 week longer than necessary. The information we don't pass along. The comment in the meeting that sounds innocent and isn't. The quiet freeze out. Even praying for someone's downfall while calling it prayer. God is not asking you to pretend nothing happened. He's telling you the case has a judge, and it isn't you. That's not passivity. That's a transfer of custody, and it's the only way you ever actually put the weight down. Paul finishes that thought with, overcome evil with good. Not tolerate evil, overcome it. 6. They don't confuse forgiveness with access. This is the one that frees people, so listen closely. David had Saul's life in his hands twice, and both times he refused to touch him. He refused revenge against a man who was actively hunting him. And then read what happens next. Saul went home, and David went back up to the stronghold. He forgave him, and he did not move back into the palace. Forgiveness is about what you release. Trust is about what someone rebuilds. Those are two different accounts, and Scripture never confuses them. Paul told Titus that a person who keeps stirring up division should be warned once, then twice, and after that, have nothing more to do with him. Proverbs says, don't make a habit of close friendship with a man given to anger. So yes, you can forgive completely and still not hand back the keys, the late-night access, the unlimited benefit of the doubt. And if there's abuse or danger involved, distance isn't unforgiveness. It's obedience to wisdom, and you should bring in people who can actually intervene. 7. They don't let the injury rewrite who they are. This is the slow one, and it's the one I'd want you to catch tonight. 6 months after being hurt, you can find yourself harder, faster to assume the worst, quicker to read a tone into a text. You've stopped volunteering, stopped opening up, stopped saying yes. You call it discernment. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a wall with a Bible verse on it. Joseph is the picture here. He wept in front of the brothers who sold him, and then he told them the truth to their faces. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. He didn't rename it, he didn't excuse it, and he didn't become them. Jesus said, be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Both. The goal was never to become untouchable. Plenty of people who cannot be hurt anymore also cannot be reached anymore. So let me put it plainly. You're not weak because it got to you. The pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means something mattered deeply. But being hurt does not hand you permission to sin. And being a Christian does not require you to lose your peace, ignore what your eyes have plainly seen, or leave every door in your life wide open. Proverbs says, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guard it, not seal it. One of these 7 has your name on it. You knew which one before I finished saying it. If you leave a comment, don't name the person, just name the number. This isn't a place to build the case, and honestly, you don't need to anymore. Stay soft, stay wise. Those two were never enemies.